Hey everybody, Jeremy here at My Way MFG. Thought I'd come out here today and see if I could get just a little bit further with this. I'd like to get the glass all in it once and for all and kind of finish up with this wood on the cab. Maybe get this roof fastened down. And I've started kind of mocking up with the rocker panels and the running boards. And I'll show you all that. Had these boards laying around here. They'd been cut for ramps. They were never safe though. My son backed a lawnmower off one of them one time, about flipped it. Last time we ever used them. But as I look at these, they're a full 2 inches thick and they're like rough cut lumber, which makes them look old. They would look pretty good on there if I got them cut down to size, I'm thinking. I just kind of shimmed them up on them blocks, trying to get the right height. I'm thinking that's about where I want to be with them. And then I was going to make the fenders out of metal. I want to get them formed up with some round rod. Yeah, I didn't have any of the bigger round rod here. All I had was the real small diameter stuff. I wanted bigger stuff. I don't know where to get it. It's hard to buy round rod or any kind of metal for that matter around here. And I don't know where I'm going to end these yet. Maybe right here at the back corner of the cab. I haven't decided. Because I thought maybe about putting back fenders on it, but then again, maybe not. I gotta get a little bit more mocked up here and see what it's looking like before I can make that decision. But anyway, that seems about right that way to me. I made a rocker panel on this side and covered up that 4x4. It's not all the way attached yet, but it started on there. I just kind of took a hammer and peened it over the wood on the top, and then it comes down at an angle. But I'll show you as I put the other one on. I didn't film this one. The other one's not on yet. That finishes that off down there pretty nice though. It makes it look more, I don't know, factory made, I guess, not being able to see that wood under there, you know. If you look at the other side, yeah. So anyway, we'll get that on there today maybe. Here about a year ago, last summer I think it was, I bought these gate hinges. They've been laying here. The reason I got these was because I have this gate that takes this type of hinge, and I would like to take this gate and put it here where I've got this wire panel. That way it would swing and I wouldn't have to pick it up and drag it around. The reason I bring that up though, I've been wanting 1/4 inch round rod. Well, this whole thing is made of 1/4 inch round rod. I'm gonna have to take a grinder and cut them, but I think that's gonna be the structure for my fenders. And a lot of other stuff I wanna do here with round rod too. It's easier for me to cut this up than it is just to go out and find any, you know. Plus that way I don't have to buy it. And I was going to be taking this down and swapping it with that anyway. So I think that's what I'm going to do there. I think I'm going to start here by trying to mock up this round rod into a fender. I'm going to cut a piece off of here because that works real good in my mind, but I don't know how it's going to work in real life just yet. So I want to kind of find out if I'm on the right track with what I want to do. So let's see if we can whack a piece of this off of here and just try to bend it and get it working, you know. I cut that and kind of bent it into a basic shape that I can work with. Now I got to figure out a way to attach it to the running board so it's solid on one end, you know, and then maybe I can work with it and get all the curves in it, you know. Set angles on the bottom of them. I'm gonna get that cut off flat. Those boards are oak, I can tell by the smell. Cut that off flat and I drilled a couple 1/4-inch holes there. I'm thinking that round rod will slip in there. Looks about right. Maybe we can get a little more shape in it. These two pictures got left out in the sun. They got all faded on me. Those are the ones I've been using to go off of. They've got the wooden cabs on them like what I'm doing here. Yeah, they don't show a good side view of the Fender, so I just printed off this picture. It has a metal cab on it, so it's probably a little bit of a newer model. You know, I think the wood cabs were earlier, from what I understand. But you can see it shouldn't matter too much on the fender placement. The fender comes up and doesn't miss the corner of the cab by very much. There's just a small area there. So I slid this board clear back as far as I could. I think I've got that placement pretty right on where that starts to come up. You can see that it comes up at a pretty straight line until it gets about to the top of the tire, and then it's got a curve in it. So I'm going to try to keep this kind of straight here. Then when I get up top, see if I can just kind of bend a curve in it. And I want to keep that curve as gentle as I can, because I might try to put that bead roll back in there. If I don't have it curved too much, I think maybe I can get the sheet metal pushed down into place, especially if I use the lightweight stuff like off a water heater jacket, and then not bead roll it very deep either. I might be able to duplicate that. At least I'm going to try. So I'm going to bend around on this for a while and see where I get with it. First thing I got to do, I got 6 1/4 inches between these rods where I drilled these holes. Up here I've got about 8 1/4. So I'm going to try to get that bent in a little more so it's the same. And then I wish I had gas and a welder. I'd cut pieces and stitch in there so that would stay in place, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that today. And then the other problem I got is I'm still looking for different front wheels for this, and when I do, they're going to be much larger diameter. So I got to keep that in mind too. And that fender should be just above the headlight a little bit, which would probably be right for the diameter wheel I'd be using in the end. So I'm going to get this as close as I can here today, just so I can get the visual, you know. that basically where that's got to go. Kind of have the right curves in it. But what I'm realizing here is I got to have the welder. I gotta be able to brace this and weld it as I go, because it's just too floppy to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to kind of build it as I go. I can't just do this all in one piece, I don't think. And I have a hard time getting the inner shape to match up with the outer shape. What I might have to do is split that in the center so I can hold both round rods right up next to each other, and then bend them in the same shape, and then weld the loop back on the front. I think that might be what I have to do. And then put braces in as I go to keep my spacing after I get both of them curved right. And then, like I say, weld the front loop back on. So basically what I would be doing is cutting it here and here, taking this front loop off, holding these two right up next to each other, get them bent exactly the same, put 6 1/4 inch bracing in between them, and then just build this as I go, and then get my Fender strut brace on from the frame to hold that center. But I kind of know what I'm going for now. I know what I'm going to do, but until I get gas in the welder, I think this project's going to stop for now, and we'll move on to something else. But I think that's basically where that should go. And once again, it'd be nice to have the right diameter wheel. The whole thing might need to go back that way a little bit, because there wasn't a whole lot of distance between the fender and the front of the cab in the picture. And if I had a bigger wheel on there, that might be getting pretty close there towards the back. You know what I'm saying? And these might be a little bit wider than originals, but I want them to cover the tires, you know. But anyway, I think I best to stop on this until I get some gas in the welder. I also need the welder to make my running board mounts. So let's get back on the wood. That's a piece of metal that I've got cut to make the other rocker panel out of. But I just wanted to kind of vice grip it over there and clamp it on there and kind of get a little bit of a visual with it. I don't want to bend it into place because I'm using it for something else. I don't want to get bends in it, but just by doing that on there like that, it kind of gives you an idea what that might look like. And helps me to visualize it, you know. It'll be coming in more down at the bottom, more of a straight down angle there. But I think proportionate wise, you know, the proportions, I think that looks right. You know, it's all crooked and stuff right now, but I do think it looks like it's in the right place. So anyway, I'm going to move away from this until I get some MIG welder gas here, and we'll get back on that. See if we can turn this into another rocker panel here in a bit. Right now, I think I want to get the windshield in permanently and just kind of button up the wood on the front of the cab. All right, the windshield's permanently in there now. I put a big heavy bead of caulk around it, and then I drilled holes through the aluminum flange and pressed it into the caulking and then nailed it in. I had black caulking I started on the bottom with, but only had it partial tube. I had some almond stuff that I had to finish up with, but it's paintable caulk, so we'll just paint that. But anyway, getting ready to do the same to the back window, and then all of our front and back windows are in. My battery was low on my phone, so I had to take it in and put it on the charger for a little bit. But I continued to stay out here and work. Let me show you where we got. Remember all these edges that I cut off of the deck boards? I was just trying to get the rounded edges off of them, you know, when I was doing the floor. Ended up with all these pieces like this. Anyway, I've been building this, and no way has this been precision carpentry work. I've been building it kind of like it's fall, winter's about to come, and I need a corn crib real bad, and I'm throwing up a corn crib. So I've got gaps, I've got cracks. Anyway, I thought I'll use those pieces of deck board when the time comes and just go over all the edges, you know. It'll give the cab some definition and cover the cracks. So anyway, that's what that's looking like. I put a piece there along the bottom like a molding, went around the back window and then up the corners. I put the other board on the roof, and I've got the roof all nailed in now. And I put trim boards up under that too, because once again I had a gap there because that piece of metal, even though it was the biggest one I could find out of that big water heater, it still didn't fold over far enough to cover that gap. So by doing that, I got it, and it looks better. I've got the other board, upright board, on that A-pillar, and right now I'm shaking up a can of black paint. I just keep finding them. I still haven't bought any. But I'm gonna get some black paint on all this stuff and see what everything looks like. I like that with all those trim boards on there. It don't just look like a piece of plywood anymore, you know. It makes it look more like a truck. And the way that rough skin is peened over that trim board up there, it really looks close to what they had going on originally. It really does. So that's all looking really good to me. Yeah, I'm liking that. So the back is, I don't know, I'm gonna say pretty well done on the back of the cab. I don't see too much more I could do there. So I guess we stick a fork in that. The roof's all nailed down. I have no nails in the top of it, just around the edges. Got a little more paint on there. My running board has fell down. But we got that mocked up to a point that I kind of know what it's going to look like. That's going to add a lot of width to the truck, getting them fenders on. It's going to make everything look a whole lot different. The windshield glass is in. That's all nailed in and caulked. I don't think I'm going to put wood trim around there. I like it just the way it is, I think. I think the next step's going to be build a visor for the front of that and cover up some of that ugliness up top there. I got some bad gaps and stuff going on up there. But we'll make some kind of visor to cover that up, and I think after we do that, maybe the front of the cab's about done too. And then the only thing to do on the other side is the rocker panel. I've got one little piece of plywood to put up there. Getting about done with all this woodwork. Probably do a little more on the interior here eventually, but exterior wise, I think we're getting pretty close. I've been putting all this trim on with liquid nails and then nailing it. Sometimes that stuff works real good, other times it don't. We'll see what happens. A little more paint on there. I think I'm achieving my goal here. This isn't going to fool everybody, but there's going to be a lot of people that don't know that isn't real. I might have ran out of paint for real this time. I found like 5 partial cans of black spray paint. Don't know if I can find any more or not. Maybe. You know, all this metal gets taken into the scrapyard and it gets processed and recycled and turned into something different over the years. You know, you can pretty well tell that this Coleman furnace behind me used to be a sun visor for a Model T. So I'm just going to turn it back into one, put it back in its original state, you know. These Coleman trailer furnaces, they'll really piss you off when you're installing them because you're thinking, why does a 50,000 BTU furnace have to be 6 foot tall when a house furnace is about 40 inches? But when it comes to making a Model T sun visor, they come in pretty handy because you can get it all in one piece, you know. I got this all cut out and ready to take these folding pliers and fold these flanges down and see what happens here. Well, there's my idea on the visor so far. It's got that cool body line already in it, you know, from the furnace. No screw holes in that either. I've kind of got it folded around in place. I've got the shape cut out on this for like a pivot to go up here, you know, so it's adjustable. I'm going to transfer that to a piece of paper so I can do the other side the same way. And I scrapped out some antique scaffold that had these big gnarly wing nuts, and I saved them all. It was old wood scaffolding. Anyway, this swing set years ago. I need to build a new one. It's getting rotten, but I used them down here to hook my chains to. Those are big wing nuts, you know. But anyway, I've still got some left. And my thoughts are, I'm going to have that going through there and hinging up here. I don't know if that's something that was ever done. I've never seen anything like that. But it just kind of reminds me of something them old boys would do, you know, like maybe something my grandpa would have done, or maybe something even Henry Ford would have done back then. So right or wrong, that's what I'm gonna do, just because I think it's gonna look cool. So anyway, who don't like big gnarly wing nuts? I got that on there with just a couple screws, but I'm not liking the way it's setting. It's got too much downward slope in it. It needs to come up more, and that would put me too close to the front of the windshield frame. So anyway, I've made me up a couple brackets here. I'm gonna screw out front, try to make a hinge, see how that goes. Yeah, I think I can make that look okay. I got that on there about the angle I want it now. Added those brackets. Got my big wing nuts on there. I put a little grease on them bolts so that they wouldn't freeze up. I think that looks pretty good on there. I don't know if Henry ever had anything like that on them, but if not, should have. I know some of them did have sun visors on them. I'm just not sure about the big gnarly wing nuts, but I don't know. They look right to me, you know? It makes it look like the luxury model, you know? Like the rich farmers would have these. The poor farmers wouldn't have one. That's what I'm thinking. Only thing is, I don't really know how, don't know how it's gonna do with wind. I mean, everybody around here wants to see me get this running and drive it out of here at some point. And at what speed will that fly off of there? I have no idea. I'm not a physicist, not a scientist in any way, shape, or form. So I can't do the calculations. Only thing I can do is just try it. So I'm thinking we could all just place bets, like right now. You know, put in the comments at what speed do you think I lose this sun visor? I'm gonna start, I'm gonna say 72 mile an hour. I think at 72 mile an hour, that'll fly off of there, or at least fold up and bend. Let me know what you guys think. Anyway, I think I'm gonna move on now and see if I can maybe get a radiator in it. Can't have it overheating, you know. And guys, I found a radiator that fits. And I got a box of these things. And these are the same ones that they used originally to mount Model T radiators. So we're gonna just put the screws back in the factory location. Looks pretty good. Doesn't quite look gnarly enough for a 100-year-old radiator though, does it? I think maybe a fork could fix that. Let me grab a fork. Let's see if we can make this look like it's 100 years old with a fork. Anyway guys, I think that's going to do it for this video. I have been looking at my options for making this run and drive. Not committed to it yet, but good possibility that could happen. And I'm gonna go look at a drivetrain out of something later on next week probably, and just get an idea what it's gonna take to adapt it in there and get all the spinny stuff working so the back wheels turn, you know, and then steering and brakes. But anyway, guys, I want to thank y'all for watching. Please like, comment, share, tell your friends. Love all the subscribers. We've picked up quite a few doing this Model T project. And honestly, I didn't know anybody would watch it, so I think that's really cool. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for me today. We'll catch you on the next one. Later. Jeremy.